Hello everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to use the augmentations effectively within Nightingale and how upgrading your gear is very important within Nightingale, also depending on the equipment you use. First of all, I'd just like to apologise for the mess in my build. This build is nowhere near complete and it is just everything rammed into one room and it's a bit of a mess. Okay, so first of all, let's just start with something simple. This fire. So this fire here is a bonfire, right? Just ignore whatever it is. This premise is the same for everything within Nightingale for upgrades. Lift this up, this bonfire. As you can see, when I go to move this bonfire, you can see loads of green lines coming off it. This bonfire is going to affect pretty much everything in this room because it emits light and warmth. So if I go ahead and place this bonfire back down, you will see above it, it has a whole bunch of ticks. This bonfire can have 6 augmentations attached to it. So whatever's attached to this, so if I just go ahead and click on the bonfire and just click on roasted meat, for example, and go to station traits, these are all the traits that are going to be applied and the actual buffs they're getting from various other augmentations within the room. But these are also from quests that I've unlocked throughout the world by either helping people or doing puzzle quests or something like that. So these aren't all from augmentations, as there is 7 buffs here in total. 2 of them are coming from being well lit and sheltered. You will have to pay particularly attention though to your augmentations, as they can overlap with other crafting benches. If you don't want a certain augmentation to filter onto 2 crafting benches, for example, you will have to build them further apart so they don't get connected. For example, this refined workbench here, I just go ahead and move this. This is branching out and affecting multiple different things. So as you can see, when I move it further away from something, it becomes less effective. But as I move it closer to stuff, as you can see, it becomes more effective on more items. So if you want a cluttered base like mine, go ahead and do what I've done. But if you want a more organized base where you've got more control of your augmentations, I'd recommend building multiple rooms and stuff like that so you can better judge what your augmentations are and where they're coming from. I wouldn't worry too much really early game though about augmentations. You will naturally get them from essence traders anyways, so you can purchase them. And you'll also be able to get them from doing various other side quests and helping NPCs within the world. Augmenting your crafting stations isn't the only way to augment in Nightingale. There's no specific character build within Nightingale. The minute you change a weapon or a tool, you automatically just use them. There is no specific build or anything like that. But what you can do though within Nightingale is this. You can really alter your weapons. So for example, for a maul, you might want to put a quake enhancement on this. So all you had to have to do is right click and then apply and then click the item you wanted to put earthquake on. For example, I have fire enchanted onto my axe. So this will allow me to do fire damage for a multiple hit with this axe. So when you're crafting gear or an item of clothing within Nightingale, and if you really want to min-max your character, or if you care about the extra melee damage or range damage you might want to do, it really depends on the wood and the ingot and the fabrics you're using. So for example, this advanced bound fiber, this has plus 20 maximum health, plus 20 maximum stamina, for example. Now if I was to use this fiber on an item of clothing, say, I don't know, maybe bottoms, drastically increase my HP and stamina regeneration. Where if I didn't use that and I just used basic fiber, I'd get maybe 5% stamina regen and 5% health regen. It really does depend on the quality of the materials you're using when you're going to craft your gear. As you can see here, on these rare bottoms, under magical, it says who it's crafted by, and the properties which it's got on it. So it's got cold resist ++, weight minus, so I actually lose a bit of weight, carry weight with this set of pants I've made, but I've increased its durability, max hope, and encumbrance. That is in part of the gear that I use to craft these bottoms, and the augmentations I've got on my sewing table. Another example here is the backpack that I'm using. As you can see, I've got cold resist, rare ++, 2 times durability plus, blocking efficiency, encumbrance, and max hope. This is all dependent on the augmentations and the equipment you're using. You can really get a good bunch of extra stats depending on the gear you're using to craft your equipment. Also, ore is very important. So you want to be careful which ore you're using for your equipment. You want to make sure you're not using ranged damage and using them ingots on an axe, for example. You want to keep them for when you're making a shotgun, pistol, or a sling bow, for example. Because you're not really doing yourself any justice if you're using ranged materials on an axe. So you do really want to pay attention to the ingots you're using. For example, iron is really good for melee, but iron is a later game ingot, so you will have to scout around and find various other ingots which will probably benefit you for the time being. For example, tin is really easy to get early game. This will increase your critical damage and your durability, for example. Mining gems within Nightingale is very important also, as these can give you significant boosts to your equipment and gear. So for example, this amethyst here, it'll give you a stealth rating of 20%, miasma resistance 25%, and miasma damage 25%. Now, if you want to be a stealthy kind of player, stealth rating is the way to go, but I just run in there with a flaming axe and smash heads, but that's just me. But having them miasma resistances and the actual damage is really good, especially for the swamp biome. There are many other gems out there though. There's loads to really change your character. Next up is infusions. These are really important. You'll get tons of these throughout your time in Nightingale. You'll find them everywhere as rewards, doing puzzles, helping NPCs. But they do scale in rarity. For example, you have uncommon, rare, and epic. Now, if there's a legendary one out there, I haven't seen it, so who knows. These aren't just stamina related, these do cover a wide spectrum of different multipliers. To give you an example, this is one of my chests of some in, and we have range rating, and we have durability, range damage, strength, and magic power. As you can get the idea, there's absolutely tons of them. If you want to apply one of these infusions to your actual armor or gear, what you have to do is just right click apply, and then you can apply it to a piece of gear. It allows you to. Next up is charms. These work exactly the same way as infusions do. All you have to do is right click, apply, and you can apply a charm to anything. What are charms? They give you a specific buff. This charm heals the wearer whenever they are in contact with water. Now, for example, that on the face of it, that doesn't sound very good. When you go to the swamp biome and you wade through water, you will get the diseased debuff and it will start hurting you. That's where this comes into effect, especially if you're fighting something specific, which I'll not spoil for you, in the swamp biome. One last thing I wanted to cover was fabled items. Now, when you take down a fabled creature, you'll see them moving around on the map. They'll be like a little wolf's head on the map, and they'll be moving around. Once you've left your respite realm, your abeyance realm, and go out to the portal, you'll start seeing these appear on the map. Now, fabled creatures are basically what we would call an elite in any other game, okay? They're a little bit tougher, and they're a little bit bigger. But when you harvest them, you'll get fabled items from them. For example, fabled hide. You'll even get fabled meat from them, which have stronger properties than the regular counterpart would. So for example, you go and kill a fabled harpy from the swamp, for example. This is the kind of stats you'll get on this hide. 60 stealth rating, 30 movement speed, 20 poison resistance, and 15% durability. Now, if you get enough fabled harpy hide, enough to say craft yourself a new coat, them properties would get imbued onto that top. So you'd be absolutely jacked, for example. Now, depending on the build you are, that harpy might be no good for you, and you might want to go and find another fabled creature which gives you more melee damage or something like that. You might want to craft your gear in all fabled stuff. That's the kind of in-depth crafting you can do within Nightingale. And that is augmentation within Nightingale. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to ask them in the comments and I will try my best to answer them. Do keep your eyes peeled though over the next week, as there will be more videos coming out. And I will be playing this game, obviously, at launch. So if you want to see more Nightingale content and more guides, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel.